This is the only Amazon shipping tutorial video that you need in order to get your products to Amazon's fulfillment centers. So today I'm going to share with you two tutorials and two scenarios where we're shipping our product here, this putting trainer that I sell, and we're going to be shipping it from within the United States, so let's just say my house, to Amazon's fulfillment center. And then we're going to take a second look at shipping this product from my supplier overseas in China the whole way to Amazon's fulfillment center directly. So the first thing that we need to discuss is what you need before you even begin to create your shipment workflow, and then we can get into those in-depth tutorials. So the first thing that you need is your ship from address. So if you're shipping domestically from the United States, which is going to be the first scenario we look at, this is more than likely going to be your location or your home, or it could be your business address if you have a separate business address. If you're shipping internationally from China to the United States or from any other country to Amazon's fulfillment centers here in the United States, this is going to be your supplier's location. So make sure you go ahead and you ask them what their location is and what their ship from address is. Now, the second piece of required information is the type of shipping paper for your box ID label. Now, don't worry if you don't know what the box ID label is. We are going to get into that and I'll explain it in depth so you understand. But just understand if you're shipping domestically and you're doing this yourself, what type of shipping paper do you have access to? Is it plain white paper, or do you actually have the preferred thermal printing paper? Now, white paper and an inkjet printer, it's okay to use for this. I've done it plenty of times, but ideally you want to use that sticker paper, which is thermal printing paper. If it's international, just go ahead, ask your supplier. I guarantee, probably 9 times out of 10, they're an established supplier, they're going to be using thermal printing paper. The third piece of information is the shipping carrier and freight method. If this is domestic, you're probably going to be shipping with FedEx, UPS, or possibly DHL, one of those preferred carriers. Just understand, really, if you're going to be shipping this yourself, you're going to purchase shipping from one of those carriers, or if you want to do that through Amazon, which is honestly what I recommend doing if you're shipping domestically, because it's going to give you the best rate possible since Amazon is partnered with UPS. And it's very, very inexpensive to ship directly to Amazon's fulfillment centers. Now, if it's international, ask your supplier if they're setting up the shipping for you, or if they defer it to yourself and say, hey, you have to set up the shipping. We're going to cover that in today's video. And you can actually use Amazon Seller Central in the shipment workflow to go ahead and purchase international shipping now. All right, two more things, and these last two pieces of information are very important for your shipping. The fourth one is the number of units that you plan to ship to Amazon and how many boxes those units will be in. So if you're shipping domestically, it's up to you. If you can fit everything into one box, that is the preferred scenario. If you cannot, if the box is over 50 pounds or if you have more than 150 units in a box, I would recommend splitting those boxes up and maybe shipping 2 boxes. So just understand how many units you're shipping and how many boxes. For international, just go ahead and ask your supplier how many boxes they're going to be using and how many units are going to be in each box. All right, the last piece of information you need is the shipment packing type, the box dimensions that we were just talking about, and your shipping weight. Now, your shipping weight is the products that are in the box plus the tape that may be on the box, as well as the cardboard itself, the weight of all that. All that together is your shipping weight. If it's domestic, it's up to you again how you're packaging things. Just make sure you understand what is going to be the weight of the box plus all of your products within that box. In international, just go ahead and ask your supplier, once again, how they're packaging everything, what is the total shipping weight, and you'll be ready to go. All right, now that we covered that, it's time to get into the details with the first tutorial. Again, the first tutorial is going to be when you're shipping domestically within the United States to an Amazon fulfillment center within the United States. If you are looking to ship directly from China to Amazon or from your overseas supplier to Amazon, go ahead and skip to this part in the video. That way you can go to the tutorial that is more applicable to you. All right, tutorial 1. We are going to be shipping this product here. I'll blow this up so you can check it out. This is my putting trainer, and our goal today is to ship 200 of these units to Amazon, and we're sending it from within the United States, and it's going to be a California address. So in order to get this to Amazon, we need to create what's known as a shipment workflow. In order to do that, you have to log into Amazon Seller Central, and there's a few different ways on how you can get to that location. My preferred way is to go to your Manage Inventory screen here, find the product that you want to send into Amazon, and then go to the right-hand side here. Now where it says Edit, click this drop down, and then go to Send Replenish Inventory. If this option is not here, you have to make sure to go to Change to Fulfilled by Amazon. And the reason why that option isn't there in that scenario is because Amazon believes this to be an FBM or MFN type of listing, so you have to change it to an FBA listing. So go through those steps, and then you'll see the Send Replenish Inventory option. So go ahead, select that. Now, once that page loads, you'll automatically see the shipment workflow and how you can send your products to Amazon. So step one is to choose the inventory to send to Amazon. Now, the reason why I like to go through that manage inventory page and then to this is because it already selects the SKU or product that you want to send in, and it automatically puts everything there for you, so you don't have to go ahead and just select the products. Now, if you want to send more than one ASIN or one SKU or one product to Amazon, you can select all FBA SKUs. You can see all of your products that are FBA listings, and then you can go ahead and you can click the check next to each one to add them into this shipment workflow. Again, for this example, we're just sending this one product in, and we're going to send 200 units. So the first place we need to start in this step is the ship from address. If you recall, I told you to figure this out if this is going to be your supplier's location or your location. In this scenario, this is going to be us domestically in the United States. And let's just say this is my address in Santa Monica, California. If this is your first time, there's probably nothing here, or maybe it's your address on file. If you want to change that, click Ship from Another Address, and then you can select the option that you want. But if there's nothing there, you have to go ahead and create Add Contact. Once you come into here, you just fill out your simple information of your full address and make sure that address is accurate, because that's where Amazon's going to calculate your shipping costs from. And if there's any issues with your shipment, such as the package is lost and it's later found, they need a return address so they can get those units back to you. So make sure that this information is accurate. All you have to do is enter all this information in there and click Save and Close. From there, you can select Continue or Select next to the address that you want to ship from. All right, marketplace destination. This is the marketplace that you will be selling in and where your products are going to be sent to. If you click the drop down, you may see the Mexican marketplace or the Canadian marketplace, depending on which marketplace you have your account under in this moment of time. So if you're shipping to the United States, make sure this says United States, or else your products may go to a different country and shipping will be very costly. All right, moving on down here, just confirm that this is the product you want to send in and the ASIN. And then we'll get to the packing details here. There's a lot of confusion with this section if you select individual units or if you select case packed units. And I want to really dive into detail with you on that, just so you fully understand which option is going to be best for you. So if I click the drop down here, you'll see that these first two are case packed templates is what they're called. I've already created these in the past and I've used them. And then the third option is individual units, as I just mentioned. We're going to cover that in a second. And the last option you may see is create new packing template. So let's bring up a few slides here just to cover what these two items mean, because again, there's a lot of confusion with beginner sellers on which one to select. So I made this very simple and easy for you. If you want to select individual units, you should only use this when you're shipping multiple SKUs or ASINs in one box. So that means you have maybe 3 to 4 different products at different quantities, and you're trying to put them all in one box. You want to select individual units in that scenario. The second scenario is you're shipping one SKU or one ASIN in more than one box at different quantities. So maybe I'm shipping this putting trainer in 3 different boxes. Box 1 has 25 units, box 2 has 50 units, and box 3 has 100 units. I'd want to select individual units in that scenario. The last one is if you're shipping more than 150 units in one box for standard size products like this. Now, the reason why that is, that's just an Amazon requirement. They do not allow you to package more than 150 units, regardless of how small those units are, into one box if you're going to case pack them. So if you're shipping 200 units like we are in this scenario, we're going to select individual units. Now, on the other hand, when would you want to go ahead and to create a new packing template and to select case packed units? You want to do this when it's really the opposite scenarios that we just discussed. So use this when all units in a box will have matching SKUs and quantities, meaning all the units that are going in this box is this one single product and they all have the same quantity. Second time to use it is when you're shipping one SKU in more than one box at the same quantities. So if I was shipping 4 boxes of this product and in every box there were 30 units, that'd be a good time to use this case packed units template. And the last two here is when you have less than 150 units in each box and you plan to ship like this in the future. Now, what makes the case packed units great is if you know your supplier always ships 100 units in this same box, you can save yourself a lot of time by creating a template and then just continuing to reuse that template whenever you get to this step 1 for the shipment workflow. And the last thing I want to share with you before we get back to the tutorial is just this old image that Amazon used to have between individual products and case pack products. I believe this is a good visual representation of what I just discussed. So if in the first one where it says individual products, it's showing 4 different products, blue, red, green, purple variations, and you're shipping in one box, you want to use individual products. Now, if you're shipping the same quantity in multiple boxes of the same product, you want to go with case packed. Just a visual representation for you to better understand that. Okay, so back to packing details. We are shipping more than 150 units. We're going to be shipping 200 units. So I want to select individual units. And now the next step is to go to the information action column here. Prep is not required for this product. If you're shipping something that is sharp or potentially hazardous or has lithium in it, there may be some additional prepping requirements that it's going to ask you for more inputs on. For us, we're all good there. So I'm going to go to the right-hand side here. You can see that I can't put anything in boxes because this is individual units, but I can put the quantity to send of the amount of units. So I'll put 200 in here and I'll click Ready to Pack. All right, and that wraps up step 1, the choose inventory to send. Always keep an eye on the dollar amount here. This is what Amazon's going to charge you if there's any prep or labeling fees. But since we're doing that ourselves, it's going to be $0 at this point. So let's go ahead and click Pack Individual Units. All right, and here's step 1B. We're not at step 2 yet, but this is just some more information on how we're shipping to Amazon. And this is the Pack Individual Units section. So we can see our ASIN down here in the Pack Group 1, and we have 200 units. Now, Amazon wants to understand, how are you going to pack these 200 units? Are you packing everything into one single box, or are you packing it into 8 different boxes? They need that information so they know how many box ID labels they need to create for you, as well as the carrier labels from UPS or whoever the shipping carrier may be. As I mentioned before, we are going to ship everything to Amazon in one single box. So I'll go down to the packing information section here. How many boxes will these units fit into? I'm going to select everything will fit into one box and click confirm. Next, we're asked the box dimensions. So this is the physical shipping box that all 200 units of these putting trainers are going to be placed inside of. I'm going to be using a 20 by 20 by 24 box to package everything into there. So that's why it's very important to understand how you're going to be shipping these prior to actually creating the shipment workflow. The box weight is going to be 45 pounds, and then I can click confirm packing information. Before I do that though, I just want to provide you with some requirements. Not one single dimension for the box can exceed 25 inches. So if I put 26 inches here and I click confirm, I should receive an error message. A box containing standard size units cannot exceed 25 inches on one side. So make sure you understand that, because you'll have to go back and put everything in here again. And the second requirement is the weight. For one box, it cannot exceed 50 pounds. That is just because they want Amazon workers to be able to pick up these boxes instead of having to use forklifts for these single boxes. So 45 pounds, we're good there. If you're 55 pounds, 60 pounds or over, obviously, you'll receive another error message. You want to do this again. So just make sure you're aware of those requirements. Now, you may receive a warning message here, and this is just a warning. It's not an error, so we can still confirm and continue to the next step. But this is just a warning that Amazon uses your unit weight and a general weight for the packaging to determine what your weight should be. And they also do the same for your volume of the box, if you can actually fit 200 units into that single box. Now, this is just a test scenario, so I am receiving a warning that my weight should be about 84.2 pounds, and I put 45 pounds in, and then my cubic inches for my volume should be this, and they're saying it does not meet that. If you ever receive these, just double check your dimensions. Double check that I can actually fit these 200 units into that single box. That way all of your units actually align. But for this scenario, let's just say we are certain that the weight is 45 pounds. I weighed it and I measured everything correctly, so I can click confirm and continue. This is just a warning message. It is not an error message. So at this point, we are going to step 2, and Amazon's calculating what fulfillment centers I should be shipping these to based on demand, based on my proximity from my ship from address, and they are going to provide us some options. Now, as of April 15th of this year, step 2 has changed quite drastically. In the past, we could just ship as many units as we wanted to Amazon, and it didn't cost a thing other than the actual shipping charges to Amazon. Now, what Amazon did just recently is they created this inbound placement service fee. So for every unit you send into Amazon, you're charged about 12 to 21 cents, depending on what type of product size tier it is. And so it's not free anymore just to ship your products to Amazon. There is a fee. So that's really my main reason for creating this video, so you have the updated information at your disposal. Now, the first thing that we need to do is we need to select our ship date. This is when we are physically handing over the box to the shipping carrier like UPS and the day that it ships. Let's just say I'm going to be shipping this box this Friday, so I'll go ahead and I'll select that date. Now we get to the inbound placement service fee. Since we are just shipping one box, we are only met with one option here, meaning we have one shipment. If we were shipping 3 boxes, let's just say, which is what we'll be doing in the next scenario later on in this video, we will have different options to provide us cheaper rates. So they may say, instead of charging $42, we'll charge you $32 if you ship one to a local region in California, and then you ship one to the East Coast over in New York, let's just say. And then there's also Amazon optimized shipment splits, which, if you have 4 boxes, they may have you ship each box to an individual fulfillment center. Now, I'll share with you a trick on how you can save a lot of money, and what I've learned from doing this scenario is a lot. If you plan to purchase your shipping from Amazon, I highly recommend that you match your inbound region of the continental United States to where you're shipping from. For this example, we are shipping from California, so I would select West, even though it's $18 more compared to East. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because this is a small fee in comparison to the shipping cost. If we ship from a California address to another California address, that shipping cost is going to be minimal. It's not going to be expensive, and we'll actually save money as a result. However, if we're looking at this point to save $18 and say, okay, I'm willing to ship from California to the East Coast, those shipping charges now just increase dramatically, and we'll see a much higher overall cost. So I recommend selecting West, and we can actually see that down here. If we look at small parcel delivery, we can see the shipping cost for these 200 units is $14.19 if I ship to the West. And if I click East, it jumps up to $30. Now, it's really not that big of a difference because we're shipping domestically, but you'll see in the international part, in the second part of this tutorial, you can save hundreds of dollars if you go ahead and you ship to the inbound region that you're located in. So we'll click West here, and then we'll go down to shipping mode. So there are 2 different options. There's small parcel delivery, SPD, and there's less than and full truckload, LTL or FTL. Only select SPD if you're shipping a couple boxes and you do not require to place your items or your products on pallets. If you are shipping, let's say 20,000 units, which I don't recommend, but if you're shipping a couple thousand units and you need pallets based on the size of your products, then you want to go to LTL because it's going to be cheaper overall to do that. In this scenario, it's cheaper to do SPD because I'm shipping 1 box. So we'll go ahead and we'll select this. All right, so we'll scroll down here to the select shipping carrier, and this is where we can select who we want to ship our products to Amazon. If you select Amazon's partnered carrier, which is UPS, you will save a tremendous amount of money because it's a subsidized rate. If I went to UPS directly to ship these 200 units, that was about 45 pounds, I guarantee shipping would be probably $60 to $70 for this to ship from California to Nevada, as we see down here. So I always recommend go with UPS if you have a UPS provider nearby in a location nearby. It just makes things a lot cheaper. On the other hand, you do have the option to select a non-partnered carrier. So if you're shipping with really any other carrier that's not UPS, you can go ahead and to select them. Now, you're not going to be charged shipping on Amazon here. You'll actually have to go to USPS in this scenario and to purchase the shipping directly from them. So again, it just makes a lot of sense to go with the partnered carrier. You can pay for the shipping within your Amazon balance, and that way it's one less thing you have to do. Okay, and then now we should see our number of shipments. Since we only have 1 box that we're shipping, we have 1 shipment number here. Again, if you're shipping 3 boxes, you'll see 3 here as well. What I want you to do at this point is just to confirm your information that we put in so far. Confirm that your ship from address is correct. You can always change it if so. And then the ship to address, this is the fulfillment center. LAS1 is this fulfillment center in Nevada. You have no say on where these packages go. Amazon creates this for you, and they have the ultimate authority and decision making on where you're shipping your products to based on your ship from address and the product itself. So there's nothing you can do there. The next thing you can take a look at is the shipment contents. Just confirm 1 box. We have 1 ASIN, 1 SKU. We have 200 units, and the weight of that total box with all the units in it is 45 pounds. If that looks good to you, you can go down here just to verify your total cost at this point, which is $74.19 for us. This includes $60 for the placement fees, that new inbound service fee, and then it also includes the $14.19 that will go to UPS for the shipping itself. So we'll go down here and we'll click accept charges and confirm shipping. Once you're happy with that, just be careful. You only have 24 hours if you're using UPS, Amazon's partner carrier, to cancel that. Otherwise, you will still be charged whether or not you ship your products as planned per this scenario. So click accept charges and confirm shipping, which will take us to step number 3. All right, step number 3, and that is to print our box labels, which I'm about to share with you here. Now, since this is a tutorial and I wasn't trying to be charged that $75, this information may look a little bit different than the scenario that we just played out. So just bear with me, because the layout and what you need to do is still applicable, but if you see something such as 1 unit, it's just because I'm not trying to spend $75. So once you see all your shipments here, you can change your ship date at this point if you want to, just by clicking change ship date, and then just verify your information again. Make sure the ship from address is correct. Make sure the ship to address match up to what we just looked at, and then also your shipment contents. It's your last check before we go ahead and we print everything out. So down here we have print box labels. Again, this is your Amazon box ID label that Amazon will scan on the outside of the box so they understand what is in the box and what Amazon store this box belongs to. So it's very important we have that information. So we'll go down here to the US letter size, and we can see that there's a couple different options if we click the drop down. There's a thermal printing option if you have that capability. Again, that's that sticker paper 4x6. Or if you just want to print it out as a US letter on white plain paper, you can also do that. And then for anyone international, you're probably using A4 paper. You can use that as well if you wish. So for this scenario, we'll select the US letter and we'll select print. After clicking print, a pop-up should display here, and this is our box ID label that we need to print. So there's a few different important items on here. This is going to tell us how many boxes are in our shipment workflow, the ship from address, the ship to address, which is the Amazon Fulfillment Center, and we have this big barcode. Now I want you to cut this out and to place it on the outside of the box, and I'll show you what to do with that here in a second. But make sure you do not cover this label with tape. If you cover this label with tape, there may be issues with Amazon scanning this barcode, and they could tell you that you have to reclaim your units and ship them back to yourself, which is very costly. So once you print out that box ID label, I just want to show you a few different scenarios here of how to correctly place that box ID label on the outside of your package. So in this first scenario, we have our DHL shipping carrier label, which it would be UPS in our case, but make sure that you place your box ID label somewhere on the packaging. In this scenario, there's no Amazon box ID label. Let's just say that we put it inside the box. Again, that will get rejected because Amazon does not know what this box is and directly where it's going. Second scenario is if you place your Amazon box ID label on top of the carrier label, that is going to be an issue with your carrier and they won't be able to scan it correctly. And they'll probably just remove that Amazon box ID label, which will ultimately cause issues. I know a lot of this just seems very obvious, but if this is your first time doing it, it's very easy to make these mistakes. So I just want to be completely clear. In this last scenario, this is the correct way. Place your Amazon box ID label somewhere on the outside of the box. Don't cover it with tape. And then keep your shipping carrier label separate from it. So you have two different labels shown on the box as displayed here. All right, the last step here in the shipment workflow, and then we'll get to the FNSKU labels, which are very important. This is the final step for your tracking details. You can go ahead and you can put your tracking ID number in here, just so Amazon understands when the products will be arriving. And then you can also edit your delivery window here by clicking Edit Window. So I think that these products will get there between the 19th and 25th. If you know that there's going to be a delay or it's a 2 to 3 week shipping time, just make sure you inform Amazon. It just really helps them to prepare everything at their fulfillment center. Awesome, so you've created your shipment workflow and you're ready to send that box in, but we still have to label our products with the FNSKU label. Now the FNSKU stands for Fulfillment Network Stock Keeping Unit Label. This is the label that goes on the outside of your product packaging, as you can see here, and this helps Amazon understand what this product is, what store it belongs to, and what the ASIN is, which ties back to the Amazon listing. So in order to print these out, we need to go ahead and go back to our Manage Inventory screen, click this drop down, and then select Print Item Labels. Once you select that, you'll be taken to a second screen You should see your product title here, and then the number of labels to print. We need one FNSKU label for one unit that we send in. So for that scenario we just ran through, we needed 200 units to send in, so we need 200 labels to print. Go down to choose printing format. I recommend just keeping standard format if you have your inkjet printer, but again, if you have that thermal printing capability, click thermal printing. It just makes things a lot easier. Lastly, go to the paper type. 30 up labels is the probably most common here in the United States. You can get this at Walmart or OfficeMax or any of these office supply stores. But if you're overseas in the UK, you may be using the 24 up labels on A4 paper. So click the paper that you have and click print item labels. You'll be met with this reminder every single time. You can click close just to X out of it, but really what they're saying is that if you have a UPC barcode on your product, make sure you cover that barcode with this new label. You only want one barcode displayed on your products. So that downloaded the FNSKU labels here. So let's take a look at them. And you can see it's the same identical label 200 times. So we can scroll down to the very bottom and you can see there's 200. So now's the tedious part. If you're doing this yourself, you have to print these out and you have to place one onto each individual unit. So that's 200 times, peel off the sticker and put it on. It does take a while if you do it yourself. I've done it plenty of times. But I think this is a good segue into our second tutorial, which is an accelerated version of all this. And that's having our supplier overseas ship directly to Amazon's fulfillment center. So they can do all this labeling for you. They can do all this shipping for you. And you don't even have to see your product in order to get there. Now this next tutorial is a little bit more, I would say it's an expert level tutorial for those who have been selling for quite some time. But at the same time, I do think this is something you should watch just so you understand how you can ship directly from your supplier's location overseas to the United States and ultimately the Amazon fulfillment centers. All right, the second part of this tutorial is to ship directly from China to Amazon's fulfillment centers. So let's cover that now. We will be using that same product that we just talked about in the first tutorial. We're going to be shipping this putting trainer, but this time we are going to ship 50 units in each box. And there's going to be a total of 3 boxes. So a little bit different than just shipping 200 units in one box. We're going to have some smaller boxes, but we're going to have more than one box, so it should add some complexity, but also this is probably realistic of what you would be seeing if you're shipping from overseas. So just like the last tutorial, we'll go to our Manage Inventory screen here, and next to Edit, we'll click the drop down. Go ahead and select Send Replenish Inventory. If this option is not there, you will likely see Change to Fulfilled by Amazon right above it. So we have to convert this listing over to FBA versus MFN or FBM, which is the Merchant Fulfilled type of listings. So go through those steps until it says Change to Fulfilled by Merchant, which is what we want to see. And then you'll see the option right below it for Send Replenish Inventory. So go ahead and select that. Okay, this is step 1 where we're choosing our inventory to send to Amazon. If you want to ship more than one product that you have in your store, you can click all FBA SKUs, and then you can ship multiple units to Amazon in one shipment workflow. First thing we need to do when you go to the ship from address. I currently have this California address that we were shipping from in the last tutorial, but we need to enter our supplier's location, our supplier's ship from address into here. So click ship from another address. And then I actually have my supplier's overseas address from China already entered into here, so I can click select. If you do not have them in there, make sure you go to their Alibaba page or their supplier page, find their location and use that address. Just to confirm, I would recommend asking them, what is your ship from address? Because it may be different than their manufacturing location address. So to do that, click add contact, and then you can enter in all of their information from where they're from, company name, the name of the representative, and their address. So go through all those steps and then click save and close. As soon as you put an overseas address, you will see this little ship here and it says explore Amazon Global Logistics for a simple, reliable, and cost-effective shipping experience on your ocean shipments. So this is a new feature that we're going to get into where you can actually purchase international shipping through Amazon, which is something you couldn't do in the past. Second part here is your marketplace destination. Just confirm that this is the destination that your products will be sent to, which in our case is the United States. So it's all good there. All right, we'll go down here. This is the product we want to send. So just confirm that. And then we'll go to the packing details. So we have some different options here. I covered this in the previous tutorial in the first one when we were shipping domestically. So I'm not going to go into detail on whether or not to pick individual units or to create a new packing template. So for us, we're shipping 150 units in 3 separate boxes, and in each box, we have the same amount of units. So we can go ahead and we click Create New Packing Template just to make this nice and easy. So I'll say Putty Trainer to name my template, and then I'll put the amount of units in each box. So for us, 50 pieces per 1 box. That way I can use this template in the future if I'm shipping 50 pieces in a single box. It makes it very easy. Then we have template type. There's 2 different options, case pack or single SKU pallet. If you're shipping thousands of units and it requires pallets, or your products are oversized and it requires pallets, make sure you click single SKU pallet, because it's very important for Amazon to understand how many boxes are on each pallet. For us though, we only have 50 units in 1 box and we're shipping through box, so we'll click case pack. All right, so units per box. So we have 50 units per box. If you do have different quantities in each one of these boxes, go back and click individual units and make this much easier to complete. So our box dimensions, it's gonna be 20 by 20 by 20. So we have a cube, and then our box weight for 50 pieces. Again, this is the weight of each shipping box when it's transferred to the carrier, meaning it's your shipping weight. Shipping weight is the total weight of 50 of these units, plus the cardboard for the box itself and any tape. So this is going to be 20 pounds for us. Now I have prep category, no prep needed. Yours may say that you need to provide input here and you have to click it. If you have a sharp object, there's obviously additional prep that needs to be completed, or if you're shipping something potentially hazardous like a chemical, there's obviously some prep that needs to be needed. Either you have to do it or you can pay Amazon to do it on your behalf. If it's a normal product that really has no hazards, like this putting trainer, it'll be no prep needed, and we can click save. All right, after clicking it, you will have to go back and you want to select your new template here. So putting trainer, 50 piece per 1 box is the one we just created. Click that, and then confirm the information section here. We have 50 units per box, which is correct, and prep's not required. So we'll go over here to boxes. We are shipping 3 boxes, and you'll automatically see the units populate. Click ready to send. And then down below here, you'll see your dollar amount. So we don't have any prep or labeling fees or anything. So our total cost at this point in time through step 1 is $0. So go ahead and click confirm and continue. Now this will take us to step 2, which we can purchase our shipping, and to confirm it, if you did select individual units above, you will be taken to a step 1B, and you can look back at the tutorial before to check that out, but you'll just have to provide some information on your box dimensions, how many units are in each box, and so forth. All right, so this is the new part of Amazon shipment workflow, which is effective as of yesterday, April 15th. So there are really 2 new things that are in this step 2. The first is that we can purchase shipping directly from Amazon, and we can eliminate our supplier purchasing shipping, and maybe a more cost-effective way for you to go about your carrier purchasing. I think that is a really good feature here. I really enjoy that we can just go to one shipment workflow into purchase shipping versus going straight to DHL, getting a quote from them, and then setting this up on the other side and telling our supplier all of this information. So that's one really good change. The bad change is this inbound placement service fee. So effective yesterday, April 15th, you have to pay a fee now to ship 1 unit to Amazon, to their fulfillment center. In my opinion, I think they're doing this because people would just send 300 units to Amazon's fulfillment centers, and it introduced a lot of cost to their business. So now they're trying to charge you maybe 20 to 30 cents per unit for every one that you ship to Amazon. So we have to get a little strategic in how we split up our shipments if we do so, and then also understand what is the cheapest shipping option for us. So we'll start out at the very top here, and we have 2 different options. If we are going to use Amazon's partnered carrier to ship our products, we want to select this. However, if you paid your supplier to ship the products to the United States, then you will click non-partnered carrier. And as soon as you click that, you're going to receive this, "Are you sure?" Amazon does not want you to use a non-partnered carrier because they want to make the money, and for you not to pay your supplier or to pay a non-partnered shipping carrier. So click confirm if you're shipping as a non-partnered carrier. So it's as simple as that. You can move through the next steps, but for this scenario, I do want to show you their new feature just because it's recommended and it may be a cheaper alternative to purchasing shipping from your supplier. Okay, so we'll go down to the part here where it says select inbound placement service. Amazon provides us with options if we want to split our shipments up. So if we want to send all 3 boxes to one location, we can click minimal shipment splits. However, the catch is that we are going to be spending more, see $31.50, versus if we split it up, $22.50. Now, I'll show you a bunch of different pictures because I ran a lot of scenarios, but from what I discovered, the shipping charges are much less if you ship to one location versus splitting up your shipments, having multiple locations that your products will be sent to, just to save about $9 in this cheapest scenario. So we'll go ahead and click minimal shipments. And then what I recommend doing is selecting the closest continental region of the United States to your ship from location. Remember, our ship from location was in China, so it'd be much cheaper to ship from China to the West, let's say California or Nevada, versus shipping from China the whole way to New York. Now, even though that this is $13.50 more to go from East to West Coast, we will see that it's cheaper shipping charges, and it will ultimately provide us the cheapest shipping option overall when you include the inbound service fee and the shipping carrier charges. So click that inbound region, and then we'll go down to the number of shipments. Just confirm that this is correct. This ship to address, this will change based on what you click above. You have no power or decision making in where these products go. Amazon's going to use their algorithm to determine what is the closest shipping location to the inbound region you selected, and what is also the best fulfillment center to send these to based on demand for this product. So there's nothing really to do here, just to confirm that the information is correct. And then we'll go down to the bottom here where we select our shipping mode. Are we going to ship this through air freight or through sea freight? And that's the two options here. So for this scenario, let's just assume that we are shipping through air freight. And I'll run you through a lot of this information. So our ship date will be this Friday, the 19th. So go ahead and click that. If you're unaware of what this date may be, ask your supplier when they would be ready to ship. And then I usually add a day or two because they're never spot on with those dates. So go ahead and add a day or two to whatever they say. Next is our export license. You can use your own if you're a larger company and you have your own exporter of record to use. And this is for customs. But I would just recommend use the carrier. If you're using UPS, for example, they will have their own EOR that you can use, and it's much cheaper to do so. Next, we'll go to shipping service. Will we require the shipping carrier to go to the supplier's location to pick it up, which will cost more, or will we have our supplier drop it off? I would recommend having your supplier drop it off. It's cheaper for you to do so typically, but if your supplier has a restriction where they cannot do that, then ultimately you can click pick up. Lastly, your shipment contains lithium battery or not. If it doesn't include any batteries, then obviously select no. If it does, select yes. And then we can go down below and click get shipping cost. Now this may take a minute or so just to populate and to determine what your shipping options are. And then we can ultimately select the cheapest option or select a more expensive option if it's with a shipping carrier that we prefer over another. Once that loads, you'll see your shipping options here. So if we use this shipping carrier, the transit's 7 to 15 days. It'd be $374. And obviously this one's a little bit higher of a cost. And just keep in mind, these are the shipping costs before customs duty. So if you're shipping a lot of units that are very expensive, you will have to pay a tariff on those. So click this first one because it's the cheapest option. We can click continue to shipping parties. From there, we have to enter some information, and this is the same for the ocean freight as well. You have to enter all this information. The first one is your company name. I always start out with the English version, so I'll type in company name, and then I will go over to Google Translate, and I'll translate this from English to Chinese. So I'll type in my company name, and then I'll click this copy icon. That way we can get the Chinese translation. So we'll go back to here, we'll click paste, and then click save and save. So if you put English in here, it's not going to accept it. Make sure it's Chinese. Next is the company information, which is your supplier information. Just confirm that that is the address we put in earlier. And then we'll have to put in the origin contact details. This is the details of the representative over at your supplier's location. Every supplier usually has some type of customer representative or at least the shipping logistics representative. So ask your supplier who this person will be and ask for their phone number and email and their name, obviously. You can click add contact, add the information in, and then click select next to the person. The reason why they need a contact person is when the shipping carrier goes to pick up the products or vice versa, if they were to drop off the products, your supplier, they need a representative that they can contact to set up the arrangements and the logistics. All right, the last one here is commodity description. This is very important to get right because your products may get rejected at customs if you do not enter this in correctly. There are 3 parts that we need. The first one is what the product is, so golf putting trainers, then put a comma, and then we have to tell what the material is. So this is 100% acrylic material. So enter that in, and then the last part is you have to tell customs what this product is going to be used for. For us, it's for personal use with golfers. Simple as that. But make sure you include those three components. Again, those three components are what the product is, what the product's made out of, and then also how it's going to be used. Is it for commercial use? Is it for professional use? Is it for personal use? Enter that all in there. If you have a mixture of different type of fabrics, let's just say you're sending t-shirts and it's 60% polyester and 40% cotton, just go ahead and type in 60% polyester plus 40% cotton. After doing that, click confirm. And once you get the green check mark here, we can go down below here and we can review our final cost. So we have no prepping and labeling fees. We have the inbound placement fee of $45. And then our Amazon partner carrier fees, which is our shipping cost here, is $374. So that comes to a total of $419 to ship from overseas in China, these 3 boxes with 150 total units, to the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Henderson, Nevada. Once you're happy with that, click I agree to all the terms and click accept charges and confirm shipping. Just keep in mind that as soon as you click accept charges, you are confirming that you are willing to spend that amount, whether or not you ship your products or not. So make sure you have everything in line before clicking accept charges. Now, before we move into the final steps, I just want to share some information to save you what I would believe to be a considerable amount of money. So remember when we were talking above about if you select the East versus West region, or if you were to ship to 1 inbound location or 2 inbound locations, there's actually a strategy, I believe, that could save you a considerable amount of money. So for this first one, if we're looking at air freight, we can see the difference if we were to ship to the same region, the East Coast, if we were to ship from 1 inbound location versus 2 inbound locations. The total cost is just a little bit cheaper if we actually ship to 1 inbound location. Now, that $15 to $16 you're saving is great, but I think it's much more important that if you're shipping just to 1 location, there's less that can go wrong. So I will always ship to 1 location because it's easier on my supplier to package everything and to put the correct label on everything. And it's also just a better scenario that, I don't have to ship to 2 locations. I can just ship to 1. Now, here's what's very interesting. Both of these scenarios are air freight plus shipping to 1 inbound location. The catch is what the location is. In this first scenario, I'm shipping to the East Coast from China. That's $623, give or take. And then there's the second option, which is shipping to the West Coast, which is closer to Amazon. As you can see, it's a lot cheaper to go ahead and ship to the West Coast, even with the increased inbound placement fee. Overall, we'd save about $33. And we can see the same scenario here too. If we were to ship to 2 inbound locations, East versus West, East is about $640, and then the West is $598. Again, saving about $40. It does add up over time if you do this. That's what I mean by a considerable amount of money. All right, step number 3, and that is to print our box labels, which I'm about to share with you here. Now, since this is a tutorial and I wasn't trying to be charged that $75, this information may look a little bit different than the scenario that we just played out. So just bear with me because the layout and what you need to do is still applicable, but if you see something such as 1 unit, it's just because I'm not trying to spend $75. So once you see all your shipments here, you can change your ship date at this point if you want to, just by clicking change ship date. And then just verify your information again. Make sure the ship from address is correct. Make sure the ship to address match up to what we just looked at. And then also your shipment contents. It's your last check before we go ahead and we print everything out. So down here we have print box labels. Again, this is your Amazon box ID label that Amazon will scan on the outside of the box so they understand what is in the box and what Amazon store this box belongs to. So it's very important we have that information. So we'll go down here to the US letter size, and we can see that there's a couple different options if we click the drop down. There's a thermal printing option if you have that capability. Again, that's that sticker paper 4x6. Or if you just want to print it out as a US letter on white plain paper, you can also do that. And then for anyone international, you're probably using A4 paper. You can use that as well if you wish. So for this scenario, we'll select the US letter and we'll select print. After clicking print, a pop-up should display here, and this is our box ID label that we need to print. So there's a few different important items on here. This is going to tell us how many boxes are in our shipment workflow, the ship from address, the ship to address, which is the Amazon Fulfillment Center, and we have this big barcode. Now I want you to cut this out and to place it on the outside of the box, and I'll show you what to do with that here in a second. but make sure you do not cover this label with tape. If you cover this label with tape, there may be issues with Amazon scanning this barcode, and they could tell you that you have to reclaim your units and ship them back to yourself, which is very costly. So once you print out that box ID label, I just want to show you a few different scenarios here of how to correctly place that box ID label on the outside of your package. So in this first scenario, we have our DHL shipping carrier label, which it would be UPS in our case, but make sure that you place your box ID label somewhere on the packaging. In this scenario, there's no Amazon box ID label. Let's just say that we put it inside the box. Again, that will get rejected because Amazon does not know what this box is and directly where it's going. Second scenario is if you place your Amazon box ID label on top of the carrier label, that is going to be an issue with your carrier and they won't be able to scan it correctly. And they'll probably just remove that Amazon box ID label, which will ultimately cause issues. I know a lot of this just seems very obvious, but if this is your first time doing it, it's very easy to make these mistakes. So I just want to be completely clear. In this last scenario, this is the correct way. Place your Amazon box ID label somewhere on the outside of the box. Don't cover it with tape. And then keep your shipping carrier label separate from it. So you have two different labels shown on the box as displayed here. All right, the last step here in the shipment workflow, and then we'll get to the FNSKU labels, which are very important. This is the final step for your tracking details. You can go ahead and you can put your tracking ID number in here, just so Amazon understands when the products will be arriving. And you can also edit your delivery window here by clicking Edit Window. So I think that these products will get there between the 19th and 25th. If you know that there's going to be a delay or it's a 2 to 3 week shipping time, just make sure you inform Amazon. It just really helps them to prepare everything at their fulfillment center. Awesome. So you've created your shipment workflow and you're ready to send that box in, but we still have to label our products with the FNSKU label. Now the FNSKU stands for Fulfillment Network Stock Keeping Unit Label. This is the label that goes on the outside of your product packaging, as you can see here. And this helps Amazon understand what this product is, what store it belongs to, and what the ASIN is, which ties back to the Amazon listing. So in order to print these out, we need to go ahead and go back to our Manage Inventory screen, click this drop down, and then select Print Item Labels. Once you select that, you'll be taken to a second screen, and you should see your product title here, and then the number of labels to print. We need one FNSKU label for one unit that we send in. So for that scenario we just ran through, we needed 200 units to send in, so we need 200 labels to print. Go down to choose printing format. I recommend just keeping standard format if you have your inkjet printer. But again, if you have that thermal printing capability, click thermal printing. It just makes things a lot easier. Lastly, go to the paper type. 30 up labels is the probably most common here in the United States. You can get this at Walmart or OfficeMax or any of these office supply stores. But if you're overseas in the UK, you may be using the 24 up labels on A4 paper. So click the paper that you have and click Print Item Labels. You'll be met with this reminder every single time. You can click close just to X out of it, but really what they're saying is that if you have a UPC barcode on your product, make sure you cover that barcode with this new label. You only want one barcode displayed on your products. So that downloaded the FNSKU labels here. So let's take a look at them. And you can see it's the same identical label 200 times. So we can scroll down to the very bottom and you can see there's 200. The last part here I want to discuss are the FNSKU labels and what to do with them. Do not put all of your units like this in a box and then just place your FNSKU labels inside of there. That is going to get rejected and you'll have to remove your inventory from Amazon, which is very costly. Now, another thing that you should not do is if you go ahead and put your FNSKU label on the product packaging itself and it actually wraps around the product, this really just is applicable to smaller products. This is not good because your entire barcode is not scannable. Amazon will reject it. What you need to do is make sure your FNSKU label is completely visible and it's flat. So put it on a flat surface ideally and make sure it's completely visible and not rolled around your product or product packaging. Okay, that wraps us up, and those are the two different methods to ship to Amazon, international versus shipping domestically to those fulfillment centers. If there's something I missed or you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer that for you.